Welcome back to Man The Helm. Today we are going to go back to threads and have some of my questions answered. So if you guys don't know, my name is Jake. I'm a guitar player, but I also run a small podcast called Man The Helm. If you'd like to check it out, it is available anywhere you can stream your podcast. But today we're going back to threads, and the question I posed today was, as a guitar player, I fill in the blank. First up, we have from Sex, Drugs, and Jazz. Super awesome handle, by the way. As a guitarist, I color the chord changes and leave space for the rhythm section to move. That's one of the things that I think guitar players have a hard time doing. Silence is scary, and having space for stuff to actually happen requires you to actively listen and not worry about yourself. There's this weird thing that guitar players have. It's like this subtle and sometimes not so subtle ego that just like wrecks everything. I don't know what it is. Hey, if you're a guitar player and you play with people, actively listen to the people you're playing with and try to fill in your sonic space and not just play all the time. Some really cool things will come out of that. Next we have Mark Bjork. Now this one, I deal with it all the time. Doubt. Are you good enough? Are you cool enough? Are you learning enough? Are you in the right spot? Like there's so many ways you can just like dive down that rabbit hole and get yourself in this weird headspace. It's not a healthy place to be. The best piece of advice I've ever gotten, and I tell this to all my students, is be unabashedly yourself. If you do that, like the technical prowess, like if that's what you're trying to achieve, go for it. But don't sit here and, compare. It's that old adage that comparison is the thief of joy. We don't need to sit here and say, well, if I was as good as insert so-and-so, everything would be so much better. It wouldn't, because you haven't fixed what's up here. Next we have from Gringo Mouth. Listen, practice, drill, listen, riff, then jam. That's one of those things when I think about a practice routine, right? I really think about improving things that I'm somewhat okay with, doing something that I'm not good at all, and really drilling it and really getting it down. And then when it comes to the listening side of things, it's one of the biggest keys. A lot of people in my generation grew up, at the advent of the internet, and we were privileged to have a bunch of tabs, a bunch of videos, a bunch of stuff like that, most of which were wrong. That being said, still listening to the record, figuring out what parts are happening and how you interpret it through your ear to go into what you're going to play might not be 100% what was actually played on the record as far as like the technique or where they're playing it, but it comes up. That's how you develop your style, by listening to music, learning it that way, using your ears. That way when you do get to the jam part, you can identify sonic features that bands are playing or rhythmic changes or something like that, and be like, okay, I know what I'm doing here now. It's a lot less intimidating. I always recommend that. Listen to the record. If you get super stumped, maybe go for the videos or for the tabs, but man, just go to the source. Go to the source. Next we have from Scott Wilson Music. Rearranged my pedal board monthly. Man, there was a period of time where I was going through that. Right now I've got a pretty good setup. I'll show you guys right now. Obviously, a lot of Wampler pedals. I do love me some Wampler pedals. They make some awesome stuff. Brian, Richard, all the team that works for Wampler, they are such awesome dudes. And I'm not shilling for them. They're not paying me or anything. I genuinely love their stuff. I mean, I think the pedal board is, you know, pretty obvious. Yeah, it's a funny thing because you're always like sitting there like, oh man, this pedal's cool, and then you get a new pedal, and then it's like, oh I gotta rearrange everything now because this needs to go here, this needs to go here, or maybe you have a new idea of what could move somewhere around. It's a constant battle, but it's a good battle to have. And last up today, we have Matthew Briggs' guitar. As a guitar player, I have no money. You know, it's a blessing and a curse, man, because, you know, as you guys saw from the board, I've dumped a lot of money into that. I've got a handful of nice guitars, a decent amplifier. It's not cheap. Not cheap. But it's one of those things that, like, yeah, it's a lot of money to kind of, like, continue to do this, but man, it just brings so much joy. If you play music, you already know, like, you could be having the worst day ever, and it's gonna bring you peace. You sit down with your instrument, and man, you know, you just start noodling around or just kind of playing a song that you've really enjoyed playing for a long time, and everything feels okay. So yeah, I mean, no money. The money comes and goes. It's never gonna be always there. You got it. You get what you want. Plain and simple. All right, that is going to wrap up today's Threads Q&A, I guess we could call it. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, please consider subscribing, liking, commenting down below, all that good stuff that you already know what to do. And we will check you guys on the next video.